Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 21 worst movies of every year.
Don't embarrass me in front of the crew.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
For this list, we'll be looking at the films that are considered the worst of every single year throughout the 21st century. So far, of course. Have you seen any of these not-so-good films? Let us know in the comments. 2000, Battlefield Earth. This movie was doomed from the start. It began as a passion project for John Travolta, who has been practicing Scientology since 1975.
To do anything less is a disgrace to my entire family line.
In 1982, the founder of Scientology, a sci-fi author named L. Ron Hubbard, published a novel titled Battlefield Earth, a saga of the year 3000. Travolta wished to adapt the novel, but producers constantly squirmed away in disgust and hesitation.
Obviously, this is going to take a while.
It was later picked up by an independent company, and Travolta contributed some of his own personal wealth to help finance the film. It nearly killed his career.
There must be some mistake.
Battlefield Earth is one of the worst movies of all time, filled with horrible production values and a bizarre overuse of tilted camera angles. The producers were right to stay away from this one. 2001, Glitter. World-famous singer Mariah Carey stars in Glitter as Billy Frank. Billy is a club dancer who meets and falls in love with a DJ named Julian Black, who goes by the nickname Dice, and helps Billy pursue a career in music. Much like John Travolta and Battlefield Earth, Carey had been planning the project for years, and like Battlefield Earth, the results were not worth the wait.
This is not working. The glitter can't overpower the artists. Okay? Could we, clean this up?
Glitter was widely lambasted for its story and acting, particularly that of Carey herself.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm having a good time, so.
Carey has since disowned the film, telling Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live that she deeply regrets making Glitter, and that its negative reputation nearly ruined her career. 2002, Ballistic, X vs. Sever. Right off the bat, what kind of messy title is that?
Is that the best you can do?
Perhaps unsurprisingly, the awful title portends the movie to come. Despite starring the typically reliable Antonio Banderas and Lucy Liu, Ballistic is not a good movie. 2002 was filled with some bad films, including Master of Disguise and Swept Away.
I'll give you a Christmas tree. I'll give you an Easter egg.
But Ballistic is on another plane of awful. In fact, it is the worst reviewed movie on Rotten Tomatoes, holding a 0% rating with 118 reviews. General audiences didn't take to it either, as it grossed just $20 million on an inflated $70 million budget. It was a spectacular failure on all fronts.
What happens if somebody get too much foam in their latte?
2003, The Room. Serving as one of the most famous bad movies ever made, The Room is enormously popular as a cinematic laughingstock.
What a story, Mark.
Led by the grossly inexperienced Tommy Wiseau, The Room is not just bad, it's incompetent. Very few movies are truly awful. Even the bad movies are usually well-produced and competently filmed. Just look at Geely, the other infamous movie from 2003. The Room looks, sounds, and plays like an amateur production, with acting to match as well as a general lack of technical filmmaking knowledge, and a messy script that constantly meanders and leaves subplots unresolved.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
It's widely enjoyed on an ironic, so bad it's good basis, but as a genuine film, there's absolutely nothing redeeming about The Room.
Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.
2004, Catwoman. Spider-Man was released in 2002, becoming the then 6th highest grossing film of all time and launching the modern superhero craze. In 2004, it was Catwoman's time to shine, like a freshly bathed coat of fur. Unfortunately, Catwoman was more like a turd left in the litter box.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Sorry's not nearly enough.
Unlike some of the blander superhero films, Catwoman is genuinely incompetent. It isn't very well written, and it's clumsily directed by an inexperienced visual effects supervisor, while Halle Berry proves surprisingly hard to watch as Patience Phillips.
Oh, you're crazy. You are a crazy cat lady.
And despite the director having years worth of visual effects experience, the CGI of Catwoman wasn't up to par, even for the time. You know it's bad when Catwoman is considered worse than Superbaby's Baby Geniuses 2. 2005, Alone in the Dark. 2005 saw the release of Son of the Mask, a truly dreadful sequel to the beloved 1994 Jim Carrey original.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. You feel like having a tough.
But even that wasn't the worst film of the year. That distinction belongs to Uwe Boll's Alone in the Dark. Boll is an infamous German director known for his terrible video game adaptations, and Alone in the Dark is his crowning achievement. Loosely based on the video game The New Nightmare, Alone in the Dark contains a surprisingly competent cast, including Christian Slater and Steven Dorff. But even they couldn't save the film, which was filled with cheap special effects, typical direction from Boll, and a lackluster Tara Reid as Slater's archaeologist girlfriend.
Give me one reason why I should ever even speak to you again.
2006, Basic Instinct 2.
This is worse than chess love, isn't it? This time you knew right from the start what I was. And you let it happen again, didn't you?
In 1992, an erotic thriller called Basic Instinct was released to incredible popularity, grossing over $350 million and shocking audiences with its graphic sexuality. It also made the 34-year-old Sharon Stone an international sex symbol. For some bizarre reason, a sequel was released in 2006, with a 48-year-old Stone reprising her iconic role as Catherine Trammell. The movie was widely lambasted for its awful script and ludicrous storyline, and Stone's lead performance was often criticized for being flat and unimpressive.
You don't seem too upset by what's happened.
Of course I am, I'm traumatized.
It simply didn't work, and a potential third film was immediately canceled owing to its awful box office performance.
I guess we're out of time for today.
2007, Norbit.
Rasputin, you know a lot in here. What the hell with that? Where's Norbit? I don't see Norbit. Anybody here to see Norbit?
He hasn't been here.
It's a shame that the once great Eddie Murphy resorted to making movies like this. Norbit is one of many movies in which Murphy plays several different characters, 3 to be exact. But one of them is a morbidly obese woman, and another is a Chinese American that sees Murphy donning yellowface. The gimmick worked in The Nutty Professor, but it didn't work here. The film was often criticized for being cruel and bigoted, with most of the jokes being aimed at overweight individuals and black stereotypes. And Murphy earned 3 different Razzie Awards for his performances. Murphy is far better than this.
Lloyd, just tell me why it has to hurt so GD much.
2008, The Happening. 2008 was a pretty bad year for movies, as it also saw the release of One Missed Call and Mike Myers' dreadful The Love Guru. But nothing compares to the mind-boggling, unintentional hilarity of The Happening.
What? No!
This movie killed all the momentum that M. Night Shyamalan had built with The Sixth Sense and Signs. After this, he was known as a once promising director who had squandered his potential. The Happening has undergone a critical reevaluation in recent years as an homage to the horrible B-movies of the 1950s, but it doesn't really work as one of those either.
Plastic. Talking to a plastic plant.
Shyamalan's writing is incoherent and his direction is sloppy, and Mark Wahlberg gives a career worst performance as high school science teacher Elliot Moore.
Hey guys. Nothing.
2009, Dragon Ball Evolution. Serving as the first live-action adaptation of the popular Dragon Ball manga and anime, Dragon Ball Evolution did nothing but disappoint millions.
You got a couple of dings there you might want to try buffing out.
Directed by James Wong of Final Destination and The One fame, Dragon Ball Evolution was 7 years in the making. Unfortunately, its paltry $30 million budget could never do justice to the imaginative source material. The small budget makes itself quite obvious, as the movie is filled with poor acting and unconvincing special effects. Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama does not like the film, and screenwriter Ben Ramsey admitted to the Tao of Dragon Ball that he had zero passion for the project and that he wrote the film solely for the money. It shows. 2010, The Last Airbender. If The Happening didn't tank Shyamalan's career, then The Last Airbender certainly did.
It's time for you to stop doing this!
2009 and 2010 saw a horrible 1-2 punch of live-action adaptations, with The Last Airbender following Dragon Ball Evolution into the cinematic abyss. Based on the beloved Emmy and Peabody-winning animated program of the same name, The Last Airbender is one of the most horribly put-together movies ever made. Absolutely nothing went right here, and virtually every aspect of its production was widely mocked and criticized, particularly the casting and acting. Shyamalan's incomprehensible screenplay, the lack of faithfulness to the show, and the truly embarrassing visual effects. It's an inexplicably awful movie, considering the money and award-winning talent behind it.
For a moment, I had my honor back.
2011, Jack and Jill. This year saw the release of the grossly disappointing The Green Lantern, but that looks like a masterpiece next to the Adam Sandler-led Jack and Jill. This movie sees Sandler playing two roles, Eddie Murphy style. The ad executive, Jack Sadelstein, and his incredibly annoying twin sister, Jill.
Oh, will you stop it already? These sweet potatoes need salt.
Sandler has produced some stinkers over the years, including Bucky Larson Born to Be a Star, which was also released in 2011. But Jack and Jill is special, just not in a good way. In fact, it's the first movie in history to be nominated for 12 Razzie Awards, and also the first to sweep, winning in all 10 categories. It's a true career low for all involved, including Sandler and the inexplicably present Al Pacino.
All copies. Destroy them.
You want me to play it again?
Has anybody seen this?
Nobody has seen this.
They have to be found and talked to.
All right.
2012, 1,000 Words. The second Eddie Murphy movie to grace this list, 1,000 Words came just 5 years after the awful Norbit and nearly killed the comedian's career. Murphy plays a literary agent named Jack McCall, who is forced to use limited words and gestures owing to a magic Bodhi tree that will end his life if he talks too much.
My talking is not making me sick. Oh, really?
The concept of the loud and energetic Murphy being forced into silence is somewhat intriguing and funny, but it simply doesn't work in practice. The premise is also far too absurd, and Steve Coren's script is poorly written and formulaic. Coren also wrote Jack and Jill with Adam Sandler, making this a double dose of awfulness.
I forgive you.
2013, Movie 43. This is one of those once-in-a-lifetime movies that has movie buffs and critics shaking their heads in confusion, wondering how such talent could have resulted in such an end product.
It's horrific.
This movie contains virtually every megastar of the early 2010s, and it was directed by a slew of competent filmmakers, including Peter Farrelly, Elizabeth Banks, James Gunn, and Brett Ratner. Yet the movie was so unimaginably awful that it belied belief.
You son of a bitch! Take it back!
None of the 14 segments worked in any capacity, and the scripts proved so unfunny that they somehow managed to make these world-class performers look like fools. What a travesty. 2014, Left Behind. Nicolas Cage is one of the most perplexing actors of our generation. He's clearly very talented and has starred in some incredible movies, but he's also appeared in some of the most irredeemable films of the past 20 years. Left Behind is one of them.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them, but right now, I have to do my job so that we're all safe.
Cage stars as Rayford Steele, an airline pilot who is left stranded in the air with his passengers after the rapture causes people on the ground to disappear. Left Behind can't help but remind viewers of Airplane, complete with some horrible acting and ghastly special effects. But Airplane was trying to be funny. Left Behind isn't. The result is unintentional hilarity and one of the worst movies of the 21st century.
Irene knew this was coming. In detail. How could that be possible?
2015, 50 Shades of Grey.
It's important that you know you can leave at any time.
2015 was one of the worst years in modern movie history, filled with films like Fantastic Four, The Ridiculous Six, United Passions, and 50 Shades of Grey. People wanted to hate this film, as E.L. James's source novel was critically derided and quite controversial. While this movie gets a lot of flack, it's not because of the novel. It's because the movie is genuinely bad.
I don't think I'd fit in here. Look at me.
The filmmaking and acting are poor, but no one came into this movie expecting Oscar-worthy material. But even the sensual sequences were boring due to the uncommitted performances and general tameness of the acts themselves. This was softcore when fans wanted hardcore, and it made for a horrible viewing experience for all demographics.
I don't do romance. My tastes are very singular. You wouldn't understand.
2016, Norm of the North. It's very rare that an animated film is this bad, but Norm of the North is really bad.
And on top of all that, Mr. Green's watching us, so act natural. Not that natural.
The story concerns an Arctic polar bear named Norm, who travels to New York City and becomes the mascot for a condo development company. The cast includes the talented Rob Schneider, Heather Graham, Ken Jeong, and Bill Nighy, but even they can't elevate the pedestrian material. This is a lazily produced film, complete with subpar animation, poor voice acting by the otherwise notable cast, and a terrible script. Disney and Pixar have set an incredibly high standard for animated films, so it makes it even harder for efforts like Norm of the North to even come close to.
It's not over yet, Norm. You can still do something.
2017, The Emoji Movie. Speaking of awful animated movies, The Emoji Movie, which may be the worst animated film ever made. Gotta be top 5, right?
Okay, looks like it's gonna be meh.
2017 also saw the release of the grossly disappointing Death Note, but the Emoji Movie is so unbelievably bad that it quickly entered the annals of Hollywood infamy. Despite a strong voice cast, the Emoji Movie was hated upon announcement owing to its goofy concept. But as the Lego Movie proved 3 years earlier, strong writing and filmmaking can make even the silliest concepts work. But this was a poorly made movie on all counts, especially the script by Tony Leondis, Eric Siegel, and Mike White. The blatant product placement certainly didn't help.
Where am I?
Candy Crush.
Get me out of here!
2018, Gotti. Holmes and Watson was a contender, but we're giving this spot to Gotti instead. It's just amazing how John Travolta managed to match Battlefield Earth.
Well, not a piece of work. It's a big job, but there's no two ways about it. It's got to be done.
Gotti is a biopic of the late American gangster John Gotti, who served as the boss of the infamous Gambino crime family. Martin Scorsese makes it look easy because this mob drama is a truly horrible piece of work. Travolta is terrible as John Gotti, and both the writing and directing are pedestrian.
I told them that was coming down here. I had to read about it. It is on the cover of the paper.
It's an unbelievably bland film about a captivating true story. The movie was also accused of interfering on Rotten Tomatoes, as the audience score was curiously high, and eventually linked to the movie's distributor, MoviePass Ventures. 2019, Cats. It's amazing how poorly Cats turned out. Despite 2019 seeing the release of John Travolta's The Fanatic and the insulting LaQuisha, Cats managed to out-crap them all. Despite the amazing cast, the popular source material, and a powerful director in Tom Hooper, who has directed 3 actors to Academy Awards, Cats was outlandishly bad. The trailer was widely mocked and memed, and served as a portent of things to come. While it's certainly not the movie's only flaw, Cats was relentlessly criticized for its creepy and crappy visual effects, which contained numerous glitches and errors that made the movie seem unfinished. Universal later released a patch to fix the more egregious CGI errors, so apparently we're patching movies now. That bodes well for the future. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. 2020, Dolittle. 2020 was an unusual year for movies, many of which were questionable at best. Netflix generated some intense controversy for streaming cuties, but despite the controversial poster and subject matter, the movie received strong reviews. What didn't earn strong reviews was Dolittle, which served as Robert Downey Jr.'s first major role following his departure from the MCU.
It's not good, as far as I'm concerned.
The movie was widely criticized for its pedestrian humor, incomprehensible story, and terrible visual effects. Downey makes for a decent Dr. Dolittle, minus his abhorrent Welsh accent, but one good performance does not a good movie make. This was given a January release for a reason.
Sit down, John.
Don't embarrass me in front of the crew.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.